I'm gonna give everybody hello everyone. I'm gonna give everybody a few minutes to come in. Um Let me know if you can hear me before I proceed forward with just a little brief live. Nothing too detailed, nothing too extravagant. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you all hear me? Hello? Maybe I should take this off. I got these new earpieces and I'm trying to see how well do they work. I don't know. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, let me know. Just somebody say, yeah, we can hear you. Sharon, can you hear me? Hey, can you hear me, Sharon? Hey, Tamisha, how you doing, sweetheart? How you doing, baby? Can y'all hear me? Okay, awesome. Okay, today I want to talk about a topic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Casey. I want to talk about a topic today. The topic today that I want to talk about is called delusion. You know, a lot of times when people are delusional, they don't know that they're delusional. So therefore, they don't think they have a problem. So when they don't think they have a problem and they're delusional, they cannot typically ascertain the truth about a situation. And I want to tell you something. I've watched people that operate out of delusion. And when you operate out of delusion, a lot of times it costs you more than you're willing to pay. I've watched people in relationships operate out of delusional stances. I've watched people in business practices operate out of delusional stances. I've also watched people just with their own personal beliefs about themselves operate in a spirit of delusion. The spirit of delusion is a spirit. And believe it or not, the medical people say that you have a mental illness when you have an all-time when you're the kind of person that always operates in delusion. And a lot of times we as human cannot see our faults. We cannot see our mistakes. We cannot see when we are wrong about a situation. And if somebody tries to tell us that we're wrong about that situation, we can become offensive and stuff like that. But this is something that I learned right here. If you are easily offended, you operate in the spirit of delusion. And most people that are easily offended operate in the spirit of delusion. There is no way, no matter what position you have or hold in life, that someone cannot come to you and talk to you about a particular situation if they're having a problem and you're not able to be susceptible to hear what they're saying. I'm going to tell you something. Prime example, I had a friend that was in a relationship, and they thought that that relationship was an ideal situation. So basically, no matter what people told them about this person, they still continued in that relationship. And I'm gonna give you a case at point. That was a little while ago, a little personal situation. Somebody was talking with me about. That was a young lady, and she had a husband, and she operated out of the spirit of delusion. No matter what someone told her that her husband was doing, she always overlooked it. This happened in New Orleans. This is something that happened in New Orleans. So she had three sons. This lady had three sons. And by her having three sons, she was married to this man. But the man had a spirit of perversion on him, but she could not see it. And the reason she could not see it is because she did not want to see it, because they say love is blind. And I do believe that love is blind, but by the same token, there are markers, indication markers that will tell you, hey, something isn't right here. So this woman had three sons, and the man would always have her three sons with him. And so he would have her three sons with him. He would take them everywhere he went and stuff of that nature. He kind of was lording over her children and stuff of that nature. So this is all allegedly, because I do have to say allegedly. Hey, Tonya, I have to say allegedly. So this is allegedly on fair use. This is fair use, allegedly. So he would always take the children everywhere with him and stuff of that nature. So by him basically kind of like always controlling everything with this woman and always got her kids with him, he was able to do certain things that she could not see. So the come to find out, needless to say, some things were going on, and some of the family members saw it, and they would tell her, hey, you know, the way he have your boys with him all the time, something isn't right. So you have to watch when you put certain people in certain positions, because when you put certain people in certain positions, you can allow them to shipwreck your whole entire mission. You can allow them to shipwreck your house. You can allow them to sabotage relationships with you and other people. You got to be careful and mindful about the positions that you put people in, because everybody don't mean you no good. I don't care how many I love yous they give you. Okay, so the man would always have her children with him. Come to find out, the grandmother walked in the room one time and saw something inappropriate that was going on with the man and the oldest son. The oldest son was 14 at the time. This man was allegedly having sexual, you get what I'm saying? He was doing sexual things with the little boy. He was allowing the little boy to do sexual things to him that should not have been so. So when the grandmother said something to the mother began to emphatically deny it and say, no, this is not so. He wouldn't do this. He wouldn't do that. Nevertheless, the boy did wind up saying, well, that's what was going on. So the man had disappeared, and he disappeared. And when he disappeared and went on a run and stuff like that, come to find out, she was still having communications with him. So I'm going to tell you how they found out she was still having communications with him. Because she trusted that man so much that she was giving him all the access to her, and she was still having communications with him. So by her still having communications with this man, and he still giving her money and things of that nature, had already failed her child. Anytime a man or a woman does something to your child and you can still have communication with them, that right there is kind of like failing your child if it's something that they have done very wrong to your child. In my book, that's just my opinion. That's just how I feel. It does not make it law, but that's how I feel. And I'm always open because I have a subjective viewpoint, and my viewpoint does not make it 100% right. So the lady was still conversating with the man and stuff of that nature. He was, sending her money and all that. She was still conversating, still talking to the man. She was still engaging with the man, but she had not met him yet. So, needless to say, the family was telling her, cut him off. How can you talk to a man that you know was allowing your 14-year-old son to perform sexual acts to him? This is your son, and she would not cut the man off for nothing in the world. That's when she made the man her God. Let me explain something to you. When you refuse to see the truth, God would allow a smoke screen to come over your eyes. And he said, and I'll send them a strong delusion. Because when you don't want to hear the truth, then okay, you don't want to hear the truth. If that's what you want to believe, I'm going to let you believe that. There you go. I'll send you a strong delusion. You can believe whatever you want to believe. See, that's why it's good to hear, and don't allow a person to control and narrate everything in your life. And some people don't even know that they are being controlled. And some people don't even know that this person is this particular person, because you have allowed them to do certain things and hold certain precedents in your life. Needless to say, the woman refused to hear the truth about the man. Let me tell you what happened. So one day she went to go and meet the man. She left the children at home. When she went to go meet the man, I want to tell y'all what he did. He blew her brains out and killed himself too, because she refused to see the truth about this man. This man you could normally tell a delusional person. Most delusional people are easily offended. They think they're strong when they really are weak. These are facts. They typically have certain gifts that operate in their life. And then I'm going to tell you something else about them. You cannot go to them about anything, because anything that you go to them about, their spirit automatically rejects it. And that's because they have a strong spirit of delusion. And I'm going to tell you something else too. Most people that are delusional, they can't hold a fully cognitive conversation without making the conversation about them. These are facts. Most people that are delusional cannot hold a full cognitive conversation without making the conversation about them. These are facts. And I know some people who may be watching the live probably have a little delusion in them, but they refuse to see it. So therefore, by them refusing to see that they're delusional, then they cannot hold a cognitive conversation without making it about them, or without twisting it and referring it back to a certain center point, or basically manipulating the conversation to go back to the way they want it to go to. So I tell people all the time, when it comes to myself, this is a prayer I prayed to myself years ago. God, please always keep my faults before me so that I don't have time to point other people's faults out. However, if you ask me something, I am going to tell you the truth. And don't get mad at me when I tell you the truth, or if I tell you the way I view it. Because just because I view it this way does not make it right. You cannot have in your mind that your opinion or the way you view something is 100% the right way, because it does not make it the right way. Just because you think that it makes it the right way does not necessarily make it the right way. We all have fault, and we must know that we all have fault. I've talked to some people that, to me, if I be honest with you, they're nobody I would ever want to call my parents. My mother was a good mother. She did all she could. And one thing I must always say that I can forgive my father for is my father may not have been there, but guess what he told me? He apologized for it. Do you know that when a person is able to see their faults and apologize for it, that says a whole lot about their character. And when a person apologizes for hurting you, then you have to release them. You don't have a right to bring it back up to them again. And I'm going to tell you something. In times past, if a person would apologize to me for something that they did and we was in a relationship, when I would get upset in my immature ways, because that was very immature of me, I would still bring it up to them. Well, you did this, you did that. Well, if I keep bringing it up to them, then I haven't forgiven them for what they've done. You get what I'm saying? But I don't want to get off topic. You have to be able to discern that which is good and evil. And sometimes when something is too close to us, and there's so much chaos going on around us, we cannot discern which is good and evil. Sometimes you have to take yourself out of a situation and look at it from another perspective, irregardless of it being your situation, and write down the pros and the cons about it. Because I don't care who a person is. I don't care what a person presents to you. Nobody is perfect and nobody is always right. You got to be able to see the delusion, and the devil is in the details. Remember that. The devil is in the details. I know another man. He was the most delusional man that I know. Older guy, older gentleman. This man going on. And I knew him young coming up. Nothing people could tell him, nothing people told him about the woman he was with registered to him, because in his mind she was a perfect woman. But at the end of the day, when it was all said and done, and when the smoke cleared, that woman was the two-headed snake that everybody had said she was. Let me tell you something that I know. A woman is a very persuasive, powerful entity. And she can be used to build a whole kingdom by pushing her man in the right direction. These are facts. But the moment you have a Jezebel among you, you don't know that she's a Jezebel, because you've already been what? Bewitched. And the Bible says, foolish Galatian, who has bewitched you? Sometimes we can put a person in a situation, or we can put a person in a position that they never were qualified to be in. And it's just the truth. We all make mistakes. We all do things in life that are not right. But when you continue on in that mistake, that's when you make it a transgression against God. Because I'm going to tell you something. I've done things that I know that were not necessarily right. But when I knew they were not right, I corrected them. Because let me tell you something. You cannot have this spirit and this chip on your shoulder that nobody can come to you and talk to you. Who made you God? Who died and gave you the keys to death, life, and hell in the grave? Nobody. We must understand that the spirit of delusion is very high in the land, and there's so much going on in the land as we speak of right now, and there's so many people being what? They've been manipulated out of their situation because they refuse to see the truth. I always tell God, God, help me to see that which is wrong with me, or help me to fix that which is wrong with me. I'm going to tell you something I did today at the store when I went to the store to go get my headphones. I went and got me some new headphones. That's what I'm talking through now. I went to the store and the guy was Caucasian. He was really nice. I'm going to be honest with you. But I was asking him, which headsets do this and that and the other. And he said, well, I really don't know. You just have to go look at them and see. I said, well, let me ask you this question right here. Is there anyone in that department that specializes in the headphone? He said, no, everybody basically knows the same information. And then my little slick mouth, I said, oh, which must not be much because you can't tell me much about it. And so the guy, the salesman caught what I said and he said, oh, that was wrong. And then instantly it clicked in my spirit. Willie, you wrong. So what I did was I apologized to the gentleman because I was being sarcastic because you couldn't tell me nothing about a product that you sell at Best Buy. And if you can't tell me nothing about what you sell, then it kind of comes off to me as no one knows anything about what they're selling. That's just like me trying to sell you insurance and I know nothing about insurance. I can't sell you something I don't know anything about. So he said, he said to me, that was rude, and I apologized quickly because once I know I offended him, I wanted to apologize. I said, please forgive me. I was just being sarcastic. I meant nothing by it. He said, that's okay. I understand. And we went on and we had a very communicable relationship, like business relationship. He wound up helping me, went through a few things, and that kind of prompted him to want to help me a little bit more to let me know that he knew something about that. So I'm going to tell you something else about delusion. Delusion, they're typically people that have a lot of idiosyncratic viewpoints. There have been some of my friends that have been delusional and they thought that they could rap or maybe sing. And I asked them this right here. You right, Janika, that's me. But they asked me this question right here. This is what I've had friends that ask me, do you think that I can really rap? And I asked them, do you want the truth? Or do you want me to give you, I love you, Janika, baby. And you came to the city again 2 times and I didn't see you. So that you making me question your loyalty. You making me question you, Janika. You making me question, but we're going to talk about that on the side note. So I've had friends that ask me, do you think I can rap? And a lot of times it hurts. I'm going to tell you something. As truthful as I am, yeah, you in that list, Janika. You in that list. On that list, yeah. As truthful as I am as a person, do y'all know that sometimes it hurts my feelings to tell people the truth about stuff, especially when it's something they really truly desire. So I had a friend, I want to say maybe a year or so ago, he asked me, do you think I can rap? And I had to tell him the truth. I said, do you want the truth or do you want a truth? Or do you want me to, and so he was like, give me the truth. I said, I'm going to be absolutely positively honest with you. You cannot rap. You don't have the gift and you're not talented in that area. I'm not saying that you cannot build yourself to a certain level because nobody starts off perfect. Nobody comes out of the threshold running at 100 miles per hour. None of us come out of the threshold off the top. Now, had he been delusional, he would have got offended with me and started saying, well, you did this, that, and third. But you asked me a question. But he was not delusional about it. He asked me, can I rap? And I had to give him the truth. No, you can't rap, bro. You can't rap. You don't have it right now. And so, I said, what you need to do is because when you rap and you have a gift to rap, let me tell you something. Your lyrics will stick. They will flow. They will say certain things. They will emote your emotions and people are You can feel it. You can just tell when a person got a gift. Some people just don't have it, and some people have to develop it. But in his case, he didn't have either one of them. I don't even think he could develop it because, he still was trying to do the things. He wound up letting it go. Some people just don't have the gift, and it's okay. You have to find the area that you operate in so that you won't mess around and miss your biggest blessing by being delusional or by being rebellious. I had to tell a friend of mine the truth about a situation when it came to parenting. And I just told the truth, like, you were not a good parent. I've watched you forever. And to me, a good parent is somebody, I'm not talking about a rebellious child. I'm talking about a good parent. There are no perfect parents because parents make mistakes. But you must understand that in making that mistake as a parent, you must have the ability to look back on it and see where was the breakdown there and say, you know what, child, I'm sorry. I messed up here. Hey, Kristen, I'm glad you've been waiting on me. I'm here. I went live last week. I'm going to try to do it once to twice a week. You must be able to look back and look at yourself and see, was I a good parent? And be able to say, you know what? I wasn't a good parent in this area and I could have done this differently. Because parents are not perfect and they make mistakes because they were a child once and they had to learn certain things. And it is okay to make a mistake, but fix your mistake. And you fix your mistake by saying, I'm sorry. And the best way to rectify a behavior is to not do it or repeat it again. I messed up in this area and I'm sorry, because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of y'all black women have ruined a lot of these young black boys. But I must add that the black man should have been in his position to father that son where the mother was coddling him too much. Black women make some of the weakest, sorriest men ever by coddling them. Let me tell you something. You can coddle him all you want. That's my baby. That's this. That's that. You ain't doing nothing but raising a spongeless, spineless, jelly black, temperamental, emotional man that always have outbursts and do certain things because they have not been taught that, hey, this is not the way that a man should act. I love you too, Tracy. I love you too, baby. My mother was hard on me, and I thank God for her. In the absence of my father, once I got to a certain age, because my dad was there when I was younger, but the fundamental years of my life when I needed him the most, he wasn't there. But now that I'm adult, he has matriculated back into my life, and I love it. I love the fact that I have a dad I can call now, and he apologized when he messed up. But what I'm saying is he was able to see through his delusion after all them years that I did mess up. You got to be able to see through your delusion. And so you got to make sure that you don't think in your head that this child is this perfect person. And in any situation, you got to be able to see, because there's no perfect situation. You got to be able to fix that situation by, I'm sorry, having corrective behavior. I'm going to tell you something else. I learned something a long time ago. To do the same thing and get the same result is truly an indication that you're insane. Do you know that? To do the exact same thing and keep getting the same exact result is an indication that you are insane or something up there that does not mentally click. If you attract a certain kind of man and it always ends in breakup, and you think you're a perfect woman, then you're delusional because there's no perfect woman. If you are a man and ain't no woman good enough for you, and don't no woman do it this way and don't no woman do it that way for you, you're a delusional man. You need to check yourself because the problem is in you. I'm the kind of person in my relationships now, I try to check myself at the door, but I'm not going to be played for a fool. That's a difference. You don't let nobody play you for a fool under no circumstances. Under none, you don't let nobody play you for no fool. When you get to a certain age in life, once you hit 40, if the light ain't on, then something in your head is off and something in your head is wrong. There are just certain things in a relationship that should not be after 40 years of age. I'm sorry, period, point blank. And I can talk because I'm 43. So I done walked this thing. I done been a fool, but not a damn fool. That's a totally different thing. All of us play the fool. Don't get it twisted. But don't be a damn fool. That makes a big difference. And so that's one thing I've always vowed, that I would not be that kind of fool. I mean, it's okay to love somebody. It's okay to go the extra mile to help them to prove your love. But it is not okay to sacrifice yourself. That's when you become delusional. And that's when you put yourself in a situation that is not going to foster in your benefit. It's not going to help you on your behalf. I have seen large businesses that I know from people being delusional and having a business and believing everything that their child has said, or believing everything that the people they held close to them say, and believing them people. And the whole time those people are letting the air out of your vision. They're letting the air out of your ministry. They're letting the air out of your dream to have a bigger house. They're letting the air out of your situation that's going to get you to the next level. You got to be mindful and be very, very, very careful when it comes to having a spirit of delusion, because you will think that you're doing it the right way and you are messing up and making a fool of yourself the whole entire time. Self-reflection. Reflect on self before you try to check somebody else. And don't come telling people, oh, I'm such a good person and people keep doing this. It's something that you've sown somewhere down the line that has caused certain things to happen to you as time progresses. You got to be careful. It's something that you did. Because let me explain something to you. We can suffer as two ways. We can suffer as for righteousness and God will bless us, or you can suffer as a busybody in other men's matter. Some people suffer because they'll put themselves in a situation that they didn't have to be in. And some people suffer because that is something that they have to go through. A bad relationship is nothing that you have to be in. If the person is cheating on you continuously, because, hey, everybody's allowed, in my book, maybe one time to cheat, if I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody's allowed to cheat one time. I'm just going to be honest with you. Because you got to give some people, in this day and age, hell, 80% of the people cheat in relationships. So everybody is allowed one mistake to cheat. But when you make it a pathological habit to keep doing the same thing over and over again, then I got to go ahead and remove myself from that situation, because I ain't trying to be sewing orange jumpsuits. So everybody is allowed one time. What you say? Oh, yes. One time to cheat. Everybody's allowed one time to cheat. I also know a young lady that was living in a delusional situation. She was sleeping with a married man, and she didn't know he was married at first. And so by her not knowing that he was married at first, she continued doing what she's doing. But as soon as she found out that he was married, that's when she became in transgression. But she kept doing it, what she was doing, and then bad things started happening, and she wound up cutting the man off. See, you got to get the Judas out your camp in order for God to bless you. You understand what I'm telling you? You got to remove yourself out of a bad situation in order for blessings to flow. And we know that the wicked prosper in their own way, but the end thereof is death. Have you ever seen a wicked person that have always seemed to be blessed and always doing stuff and this, that, and the third, and then something tragically happened all of a sudden that sucked the air right out of a blessed, wicked situation? Let me tell you something. Wicked people prosper in their own way, and he reigns on the just as well as the unjust. But let me explain this to you right here. When you have a wicked heart, you may prosper for a season. You may go up for a season. But let me tell you something, you're going to surely be humbled down. But when your heart is good and pure, you might be going through something. And once you rectify the situation because you refuse to operate out of delusion and you refuse to not see the truth about the situation, that's when you can be blessed. I'm telling you something. Some people have bad looks because you are constantly sleeping with married men and you think that that's okay. It is not okay to continue in a relationship with a man that you know that is attached to another woman, and you think that God gonna make her sad to make you happy. The devil in you is a lie, you two-headed snake. I'm telling you, you cannot tell me that if I'm gonna tell you something. I've even seen married men. You got to remember I'm 43, so I've seen a lot. I've seen married men cheat on their wife and continually cheat on their wife. And in the end, that woman had to wind up wiping his behind because those women he cheated with was nowhere around. When people do stuff to you, sometimes you got to take your hand out of it and say, God, you vindicate it because I can't. This is not for me. I got to step back. I've also seen sometimes some women waste 15, 20 years on a man and he done cheated the whole time and she wind up dying because he caused her heart issues and she refused to see the truth about him. I know somebody young that died. She was delusional about this man. This man had cheated on her. He had been caught in the bed with other women at their house, and the only thing she did was got upset. He continued to cheat on her. That was a strong spirit of delusion. She wound up dying of heart disease because her heart, after all that years of impact, her heart failed her. And let me tell you, didn't know she had a bad heart. They was monitoring her for a condition. She wound up doing something, and when she did it, it threw a clot and killed her. So you mean to tell me you wasted 15 years on this man and he done cheated on you the whole time? You got 6 children with him and he done kept cheating on you, running the risk of anything because you refuse to see the truth because you're stuck in delusion, and now you have put yourself in a situation that you can't come back from. You go mess around and give somebody your good years, fool, and you're going to hate yourself when you get older. We are designed to live in peace and harmony. And even the Bible tells you, it says to what? As much as lies within you to seek after peace. But when you cannot be peaceful with a person, you need to part of ways they did it in the Bible. Delusion will get you killed. I've seen it happen to Miriam. I'm telling you something. So many people in this day and time do not want to see the truth about anything. But let me tell you something. You can keep operating in your delusion and God will dry your situation up. You can keep sleeping with a married man if you want to and God will dry your situation up. You can keep being low down and dirty to a person and God will dry your situation up. You can keep on dividing people, putting mess in other people's ear towards other folks because you're a messy, backbiting, two-faced spirit, and God will dry your situation up. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep walking in delusion because delusion ultimately leads to a spirit of rebellion. And when you walk in rebellion, you are in transgression against God. And then now you have entered over into witchcraft because stubbornness is idolatry and rebellion is as witchcraft, the sin of witchcraft. And you walk into witchcraft when you refuse to hear the truth about anything, or when you're easily offended because you're so delusional, or because you think you're so perfect about a situation, or you think you're right about a situation. Let me explain something to you. Ain't none of us always right about a goddamn thing. That needs to be known to a lot of people. We are not right about everything that goes on. And the moment that you think that it's always the other person and not you, you're in a spirit of delusion. The moment that you get offended because a person tells you the truth about something and you can't see it right then, you're in the spirit of offense and delusion. And the moment you continue on in your delusion, that's when you have crossed over into stubbornness, idolatry, witchcraft, and transgression against God. And let me tell you something that I have seen several times over. I have seen people walk in those spirits and they don't prosper nowhere. You may prosper a little bit here and you get knocked down 10 more steps. Let me tell you something, baby. Mike Tyson refused to hear the truth about himself. And he was a multimillionaire worth $300 and some million. But he refused to hear the truth. And God humbled him all the way down to bankruptcy. And now he has taken a lifetime to rebuild his legacy. Baby, let me tell you something. Don't get stripped down to nothing walking in delusion. And I thank you all for lending your ears to me. And I greatly appreciate each and every last one of you all. And I hope y'all have a prosperous, wonderful week. And declare and decree good things about you over your life. I love each and every one of you all. Have a blessed rest of your week. Goodbye.